Hello and welcome to the Wallace-Cast, a podcast where I just talk for an hour, not an hour, half an hour. You see, the idea came to mind when a friend of mine, Handsome Cat, who has helped me with a lot of videos. You should check him out. He's very well. Not he privates all his videos, so don't check him out but he's really funny and epic, and he's got quite good patter, as the Scots jocks say. He says should make a video of just me like talking for half an hour, like just a Wallace-Cast, just me. And I thought could be quite funny, So we got a bit of topics in there. I got some topics written down, 6, but we might not get to all of them, and obviously I might go off the beaten path, as they say. And don't be surprised if I think of something really funny and I just start laughing for a large chunk of the podcast. This is very low quality. It's not gonna be amazing. Somebody, a good friend of mine by the name of Lucas, wagered today. Well, not wagered. He said that he thinks I've never had a coherent thought, and so for the sake of that, I'm going to start off this podcast with a coherent thought, and it is I don't want to have to put politics on my main channel, but it's just me speaking my mind for half an hour. It's a kind of idealistic belief of mine called a no-kill meat society. Basically, the idea is maybe within our lifetimes, the process of 3D printing synthetic meat, like that is indistinguishable from the flesh of living animals, is more efficient and cheaper to manufacture than actual meat, and because of such, we can phase out, actual meat. And since it doesn't, taste or really look any different or anything, it cooks the exact same, we could save millions of animal lives, because animal rights are something very dear to me. You wouldn't achieve the benefits alone. You can argue if it based on your opinion if animal lives matter, which they do in my opinion. There are a couple things I would have leading up to this as well. When it's being made and it's not fully more efficient and it's still in the process of becoming a major industry, you would have a tax on meat, to disincentivize people from buying kill meat and get them to buy no kill meat. And also, let's get not even to mention the secondary points of benefits of this. Reduced livestock numbers means things like cows farting so much fucking methane into the atmosphere that contributes to global warming is practically a non-issue, and we'd only really keep cows and pigs around and chickens, for stuff like eggs, milk, which you'd still have them in substantial numbers, but nowhere near what we have now. And obviously, you'd still want to keep them around for the sake of them not going extinct. I think that's a goal humanity should strive for in the well, it's not really short term, is it? Because it won't happen within 10 years realistically. But I wouldn't call it long term because it's not. I wouldn't call it long term by human standards because it's definitely doable within this century. Maybe even maybe 2060s, 70s, maybe. I reckon. It's a bit of a niche idea, I suppose, but eventually you would get to the point where the state enforces vegetarianism, not veganism, because as far as I know, there would be no way to accurately recreate things like eggs and milk, and the suffering animals get from those, while still a very real issue. For example, cows essentially have to be impregnated constantly to produce milk constantly. That's an issue that needs addressed, and maybe we can find some way to mitigate the suffering they get from that. But it reduces the amount of animal suffering greatly, and because of that, we can actually afford and incentivize people to treat animals better, help get rid of factory farming, which is one of the greatest injustices in the modern world, genuinely. And this all stems from the idea that This belief of no meat society stems from a wider idea of mine that some people disagree with, and it's that nature has objective value. In my opinion, nature has objective value. Some people disagree, and my logic is, and it's quite simple. And there's no objective fact for it. It's entirely subjective. The fact that it's alive in itself gives it value. It's the same reason I'm pro-life with abortion, which which is a fairly controversial take. The only time it is justified to completely wipe out a piece of life, even including bacteria, for example, is when it does nothing except harm humans. For example, you can make an argument for, it's pretty clear why one could argue for, protecting deer, wolves, squirrels, but you can't really make the argument for protecting, say, the HIV virus, even though viruses are technically living. The HIV virus almost exclusively harms humans. I don't even know if it does anything other than harm humans. And because of that, we could, justify eradicating that, because that's all it does. And it reduces... I think losing a species of virus the benefits gained by that outweigh what's lost, especially when it's like HIV, or AIDS or whatever. This is God, we're only 6.5 minutes in. This is not gonna reach. This is not gonna reach half an hour, I don't think, at this rate, because that's pretty much us through one topic already. Next topic I've written down under No Meat Society, Lolza, and I think this was I don't even know. I don't know. It's something about the I want to use the word philosophy in my YouTube videos. Obviously, it's entirely debatable whether or not you think I'm funny. I wouldn't claim otherwise. I have two very good friends of mine, who have similar sense of humour, but one would argue more of my videos are funny than the other. One would argue most are unfunny, while one would argue probably most of them are funny. And for one period, I used to seek advice mainly from the one who thought most were unfunny, but now I've said to more and more take advice and listen to the one who thinks most of them are funny. Which, I mean, on one hand, you could argue listening to the one who thinks more are unfunny would help them appeal to a wider audience. But, I don't care about being a big YouTuber. I might go, to my friends, online or in real life, oh yeah, it's great, I'm gonna hit 1,000 subscribers soon, which I will, hopefully, if everyone subscribes and likes my videos and stuff and shares. I don't care. I don't want to do YouTube for money, or at least not. That's not the main intent of it. My YouTube originally started for me uploading a Facebook video of a woman pissing in the street because I didn't want to lose it and share it with my friends. So in other words, I wanted to archive something that would make my friends laugh. As the number of friends I have has expanded into the online realm more and more, my videos, I like to think, are because they stem from ideas. I make a video with the express intent of having making the video. I have the idea, whether it's mine or somebody else gives me it and tells me to make into a video. I think of it always archiving ideas that made my friends laugh, And I don't know if I'm reading into it too much or whatever, but it's something. It's a view of mine. What else on this topic? If we're on the philosophy of what is funny, don't expect Green Wank 5 to be made anytime soon. After the release of Green Wank 4 and 28 Bums later, aka Green Wank 0, I stopped really finding Green Bum and all that patch around the colour green funny for the most part. It has occasional rise and then, maybe a one-off joke can make me chuckle or whatever, or maybe I'll crack one, for the boys. But on the whole, it's not really very funny anymore, and I don't want to make it for the sake of making it. Besides, I had 8 different potential ideas, and none of them really were good. Like, I had an idea where it would be like Western themed, you know, the green, the brown, and the unfunny, I believe it was. And there was another one where I had a character like who was like Kylo Ren, but Kylo Red, and that was inspired by the Brightburn Alien tribute, you know. And like there was gonna be like a reverse Wallace who comes from a timeline where instead of green bum it's purple cock. You know, it there's a 99% chance it's not going to be made in the future. If I find it funny consistently again, and I have a idea that sounds decent to me and some other people, I might make it, but I wouldn't hold your breath. On the subject of making more videos and continuing more series, the Tom Cock podcast, which I guess counts as LOLs, it's in a bit of a limbo right now, because we tried recording one after the Curry's Crimbo Deals, and it would have been episode 5, I believe, and we had like up until episode 10 planned, and it had more blabs as well. Like, I have it right here. TCP episode 5 was going to be called Rippy Affy Day after the Still Game clip. TCP 6, I Fell in the Drink. You know who you are if you get that one. Then we had a second TCP blab. Is the Human Centipede 2 as bad as they say? I didn't think it was. Then we had TCP 7, Captain Cumbria. TCP 8, Mum, I Have a Bogey. TCP 9, the Norbit episode. TCP blab about Lego games. And then TCP 10, Did You Forget to Wipe? And, you know, those names are funny. And we keep them around for the sake of it, but like when we tried recording TCP episode 5, also because Sniff wasn't involved in that one, and we tried replacing him with someone else, which didn't work, especially after Tom Cock had already been replaced by Shellman. You know, the person who replaced Sniff didn't really do a good job, and realistically, we have to hope Sniff comes back because he was an integral part of the cast. You know, it's probably going to come back in the future. Unlike Green Wing 5, you could hold your breath for TCP 5. It is more likely it will come back than it won't. And that's all I have to say about series, really. We're on to our third subject now. Aren't we, like, epic? This topic's simply written down as banter. And, this one's going to be a really short topic, you know, maybe like 2 minutes long. But basically, actually, before I say this video is definitely not going to be half an hour long. It's not going to be half an hour long. It might scrape 20 minutes if we're lucky. Probably. Might change as I'm recording this, because I'm recording this in one take. You know, I actually call this video 1917 one take. That's what I'm calling it, Wallace-Cast 1917 one take, because of this one bit. Anyway, banter, patter, quite interchangeable terms. And I, as a, Englishman, traditionally said banter, that's what everyone said. But I've drifted more and more to saying patter. It's more, it sounds nicer, I suppose. And, it also has meant, as a follower of patter, that I can wait for the day where we finally get patter based on pittering, also known as pitter patter. Yeah, I think that's the entire bit on banter done. We have 3 more, and the 3 next subjects are Corona, which I wrote down as riots. And I just read the word coherent, so we'll do riots first. In America right now, a black man called George Floyd was wrongfully murdered by American police. And he, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not a racist, and I absolutely, sympathy for his family, the community he was part of, and the black community as a whole. They are, discriminated against in America, particularly, especially by the police, unlawfully killed and whatnot, especially in such a gruesome manner. And my full sympathy goes out to him, his family, friends, community, and the black community of America as a whole. However, we must make a distinction between protests and opportunistic looters. The protesters, who are peaceful, I'm perfectly okay with it. It's part of a free society that one may express their dissenting views, no matter what they are, in my opinion. I hate to have to compare it to such, but protesting George Floyd's murder is equally as valid as Nazis openly protesting immigration, for example. Not that only Nazis, oppose immigration, for details. I'm getting off track. Rioting, maybe depending on what you target, is justified. And I know a lot of people made the argument like, when blacks is blacks racist? Black people, when black people tried peacefully protesting, taking a knee in the NFL or whatever it was, people didn't listen and got mad about it. And it is a fair point, and I would say probably the black people in America are justified to riot at this point. However, just while I believe that, I do not condone any looting of businesses, big or small, because while they're insured and people matter more than profit, which they do, local businesses have been damaged. Even if they're insured and they make all their money back, it's still the principle that's bad. Because, as a capitalist, I'm a big fan of the self-made man who owns his own local business and thrives and whatnot. And with the big businesses, love them or hate them, they definitely have a clean track record. A lot of them, as far as I'm aware, don't really have large profit margins, so they, while they're insured and they can probably replace most of the goods, it still might make a fairly substantial, impact on their profits. And, if it happens long enough, we don't know how bad this is going to get yet, because it's only, fairly new, like a few days, isn't it? Like 3-4 days, maybe, I think, since George Floyd got killed. And if it gets bad enough, they might have to cut pay, lay off a couple people or roll back their benefits. I don't know how American employment works, specifically. It's different from the UK. Which is bad for the worker, which, groups like Antifa who fly under the banner of anarcho-communism specifically, it's a symbol they, use a lot, and a colour scheme they use a lot, would surely hate, even if it's labour to a huge corporation like Target. That's my bit on the right. So we have coronavirus, which we can actually partially tie in to the right subject. You see, in the UK, which is not the US, and therefore George Floyd was not killed here, we've still had large gatherings in our capital, London, and I believe other places regarding it, Black Lives Matter and stuff. And I absolutely get it, just because we're not in America, even though we're not in America, we still have a right to have an opinion on it and whatnot. But gathering in large crowds in a city of 10 million during a pandemic, and we have one of the worst death rates in Europe, it's probably not a good idea, Yeah, I know a couple of them wearing masks and stuff, but yeah, a lot of them are going to get it, and a lot of them are going to take it back home, and then we might have a minor or even substantial second peak of the virus. And when that happens, I can guarantee that the mainstream media and the left in general, they're not going to blame themselves and the Black Lives Matter protesters and whatnot. They're going to blame the government. It's going to be a cheap way to attack Boris Johnson's government, which in most cases in the coronavirus pandemic has been in the right. Dominic Cummings, it's debatable. It's not black and white, but they're not in the entire right for that specific thing. Corona's been pretty annoying overall. Can't find a job, can't get much money to save for university. Driving lessons cancelled, so it's like delayed me getting my license probably, potentially by a long time. Finished sixth form early. My grades are going to be predicted, so I might get really crap grades and then not get to go to university, which is a very, very scary thought, especially when my parents have saved so much money and been through so much hardship to save money for it, and they've shilled out a deposit for my accommodation. And I tried so hard revising, even though I got fairly bad predictions and, you know, grades in my progress reports. And Corona's just a, you know, bit of a mess. Genuine prediction, and if anyone's actually watching this far, which I strongly doubt at this point while I'm recording it. Oh, look, we actually passed the 20-minute mark. That's surprising. You can quote me on this. Things are going to be back to pretty much normal by September at the latest. By September, you will be able to go to any business that you could go to, assuming it hasn't shut down. Pubs, cinemas, I'm calling it. Maybe the ones, like, caveat is, maybe air travel won't be the same until potentially early next year. I don't know how hard this is going to hit it and how well it will recover and stuff, because it depends on, like, how other countries ease their lockdown stuff, because, you know, it might be, I don't know, fucking next year when Italy goes back to normal. I don't know how it'll go for other countries. Italy was just a random example. Yeah, Corona's pretty good. Final topic, coherent. Get stuffed Luke. I'd consider this whole video, well, audio really. It's audio. It's gonna be audio with a still image. You know, I'd consider it to be quite coherent. You know, I've stuttered, maybe mumbled, talked a bit quietly, giggled a couple of times. I'd consider it mostly coherent. I've been expressing coherent thoughts. You know, whether or not it's political or just a global issue or funny banter patter lamau. I don't know. Leave in the comments if I should do this more often. You know, it's boring to record really, but you know, I'm sure it'll get easier with time, and it's quite fun to just voice my opinions with no like incoming, you know, response. Oh, I accidentally hit my mic there. It shows up in Audacity. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Let's see if we can hit 1K by September.